Yeah, it was a good time, honey, under the sky. Yeah, it was a good time, honey, just you and I, feeling alright.
Hey, welcome to All Wheels Podcast. I'm Evan. I'm here with Max and Brady as always. What's up, dude?
How's it going?
Man, okay. Well, tonight we're talking about how to plan a project. So we don't actually have super accurate notes here. We're gonna just talk about how we've done it. We kind of wanted to. We had a cool episode last time with our interview with Zach Bright. It was super awesome, learning all about
Zach
jet skis and shit. Holy shit, was that fun, man? That was awesome.
Yeah, that was so good.
Blast.
I really, and I talked to him actually today. I'd love, and I know you guys are behind this too. Love to have him as kind of a recurring guest.
Oh yeah,
he's got he's had his feet and still in like a lot of different pools as far as stuff that would be relevant to this too, and it'd just be fun to have a buddy on the show. So
yeah, definitely.
Well, I'd love to get into. Whenever we get into flat tracking and get him back on and let you guys.
Yeah, no, I already confirmed that. He said whenever
Nice.
you guys are doing it, let me know.
Dude, that was fun. Zach and I, after you guys signed off, we kept drinking and we're talking till like 12:30. I was pretty hungover the next day. We were having too much fun, so we just kept drinking and hanging out.
I was wondering in that group message why you mentioned that he was hungover.
Yeah, he was putting him down.
That makes sense
because his shoulder.
Yeah, I didn't think that we were drinking that heavy. But
no,
the after hours.
Evan had a huge
the post show kept going. Yeah, I finished that whole thing of whiskey, and then I had 3 more beers bullshitting with Zach. I was pretty toasty by the time I was done. That's for sure.
Well, you should have kept recording. Had a little. We should have had a little mini episode.
I don't even remember what we were talking about, but it was
Brady. What are you?
Probably funny.
What are you drinking tonight with your pink sippy cup there in your straw?
Well, I don't know if you guys know this, but
look at that.
The pink solo cups are like half the price.
Yeah, I'm not surprised.
They're probably not. I'm actually doing.
A little vodka cranberry?
No. Doing Bloody Marys.
Oh, Bloody
Mary?
Oh, nice.
Bloody Marys at night is the best.
Ooh, that'll do her.
Nice and heavy. Get you right to sleep.
Yeah.
I'm drinking tequila and fresh lime with a little bit of maple syrup.
Hey-o.
That's good.
What the hell? Make me one.
Isn't that called a skinny margarita?
Chantel, Evan wants one.
Yeah, I definitely want one.
She's coming right. She's coming right over.
Sweet. All right, I'm in the basement. Come on down. I dug up a Longbones Mexican lager from Weldworks that was in the back of the beer fridge down here. I didn't even know it. So
nice. Those Mexican lagers from them are
they're really good.
Yeah.
No, I like it.
Summertime
I thought I was
beer.
out of these, but I found one. Man, yeah. So yeah, that was cool. Zach was awesome.
Mm-hmm.
Definitely listen to that last episode if you didn't, if you want to learn all about the super rad world of professional freestyle jet ski competition.
Exactly.
Because it is, I mean, that dude literally lived the movie Rad. I mean, he is Crew Jones on the water.
Seriously.
Yeah.
First one to do a backflip. First, like those.
Yeah, it was rad. And I honestly really just want to go be a professional jet ski guy.
Seriously.
I don't know. Do you call it racing? It's not racing, right? I don't know.
No, it's just freestyle jet ski.
Yeah, I mean, I just want to do a Superman or whatever he was talking about, like 30 feet off a wave.
Mm-hmm.
Just don't come down flat. Oh,
blow your knees out. I know. Hearing that, still competing with his wrecked knee and stuff. Like, holy shit.
Oh my god.
2 knee braces on.
And then he destroyed it, like ripping around on a dirt bike. Oh my god. Yeah, that was awesome. That was really awesome. So yeah, we definitely want to have him back. And you know, I think we need to find some other like super rad, interesting people to interview too, because there's got to be like all sorts of cool stuff we could find out about.
Yeah,
you know?
Yeah, we'd love to hear from y'all. If you guys have a great story or a fun topic you want to email us in, we'd love to have you email us at contacts@allwheelspodcast.
Whoa. Contact.
Whoa.
Don't throw that extra S in there. It won't go anywhere.
Sorry, get rid of the S.
You already confused me.
Yeah.
I know. Contact at All Wheels Podcast.
Well, I mean, we're already doing well on the email front, right? We got one the other day from
Bill Archie.
Bill Archie.
Bill Archie had some nice words.
This is total BS. Man. So I get so excited that we get our first email, and I post it in our group chat like, guys, we got an email. He said we're doing a good job. He likes our show. And I'm telling Max about this, and he starts laughing because Max sent the email. So,
I was trying to give us a little ego boost.
Nice.
Hey, well, you gave us that first $1 that we can put up on the wall, so
that's it.
It doesn't even, the dollar doesn't even exist. I mean, no,
come on. You know how like on restaurants or places they have like the first $1 for the first sale.
Yeah,
they like plaster it.
You can print off the first email you ever got.
Yeah, but my point is that first $1 came from a paying customer. In this case,
always
our first email came from Max, and it doesn't count.
Totally. I promise you,
they're legit. Don't ruin this dream for me. Those are legit dollars they earned by selling at Taco. There's no way that those are fake. You're seriously saying those are fake in most restaurants?
Oh, I promise you. At least I would say.
Yeah, the owner just grabbed the buck out of his pocket
and just put it somewhere.
Absolutely. Yeah. Okay, based on what evidence? Like, what you guys both think this? Like,
no one
right up until you needed.
Like,
until you needed $1,
do you have any?
Ripped it off the wall and spent it.
Do you have any evidence that a legitimate business owner would fake his first $1? Anybody?
Well, depending on it, but a lot of times you'll have soft openings before a restaurant opens, and that's all for free, anyways. Not necessarily.
Well, it could be a tip or something. Even if the food was free.
I think we should get back on 2 and 4 wheels.
I just
good job, Brady. Way to steer us.
All right. Okay. Good point. We'll save
that I can definitely be the cynic in most cases, but let's save that for something we can actually have a topical discussion about.
I like to believe the dollar is real. Okay, just like I like to believe the email is real, and it wasn't. It was a tough day, but it's all right.
And there, the correlation between the dollar and first email align once again.
All right,
like this,
like talking.
Oh, guys, come on.
Okay.
What's in
the shop?
Yeah.
What's in the shop? Who's?
I don't have much right now, but for the most part, like even like today,
guys, hang on. We just got an email.
No.
No, I'm not kidding. And it's from Chantel.
Oh my gosh. Come on.
We just got an email.
Guys, we just got an email. Hang on.
Chantel, you're supposed to send it from somewhere else. Don't put your name on it.
Yeah, start a whole new email.
And
what does it say?
And our friend Chantel likes the podcast. She says we're doing a kick-ass job and she loves listening to it. So that's pretty solid review right there.
Yeah, she's listened to them all. She does.
I thought we negotiated a review, not an email.
Let's take what we can get at this point, Brady.
You're right. You're right.
Be like, okay, I'm gonna go back and review.
Yeah,
it's a good start. Okay, what are you working on?
So that early '55 Chevy pickup.
Yeah.
So I've been doing a lot of work, like I said before, like it has never really quite run right. And so I've just been, at least today, I was really diving into it. And so generally I've had a lot of luck with throwing like a carb spacer on the intake. Usually good for like generally some like low end like pickup. So I've been working on just trying to tune out this like
does it have
weird
a dead spot or something?
Like right in the middle, it's got a dead spot. So I have been adjusting. I think I mentioned I put like a quick adjuster on the vacuum secondaries rather than like replacing the springs for it. And so I get really close, and then it starts getting worse.
Oh,
so
that sucks.
Is it only under load, like when you're driving, or even?
Yeah, I mean, that's the only time I've tested. No, in park it's totally fine, but
fine.
Definitely it's just under load. It's that like sensitive, I guess. So I would get to a point, like I said, and then it was getting closer and closer, and then just start getting worse and worse. So I kind of was running out of options. I had like retimed it, like I had advanced it, retard it, just to kind of see what the motor liked. And it wasn't until today I pulled the carb spacer off, and was like, let's just see. And so pulled the carb spacer off, and I could definitely feel it might have been like a hint sluggish on the bottom than before. It was definitely nothing like costly as far as power wise.
Yeah.
But
did it fix the spot?
But that spot started to smooth out. And then it was still somewhat there. And then I started to iron it back out with the vacuum secondary adjustment.
Got it.
And then it's now just
nice.
Real smooth all the way through the RPM range.
What do you get with a carb spacer? Like, what's the intention?
I think it lets air and gas mix better, right? By giving it like
so
more
it's like you're extending the runner essentially. So like Evan said, like it gives it a little bit more space to kind of increase velocity and atomize the air.
Yeah,
and,
it lets
and
it all the fuel mix in better, I think, by swirling around in a longer run.
What I'm finding out is, yes, I've had good luck with those in the past, and I even like kind of started to look up and research a little bit more. It's like, okay, like why is this scenario happening here, but not on every other time I've done? I've done like maybe 3 or 4 times before.
Gotcha.
And from what I gathered, of course, this is from the F Word forum. Like it's kind of, it's give or take. Like sometimes it works great. Sometimes, yeah.
Does it have a like gnarly cam in it or something? Like, was there some?
No, it's got that RV style cam in it. So, I mean, maybe it would make sense that it have something to do with that. I've never actually worked on the motor with an RV style cam. I've always worked with like mid to high RPM cams at least.
Yeah, it might
so
have
larger cams. And I also was playing back and forth between timed vacuum for the vacuum advance on the ignition. And then I would try full manifold vacuum. Yeah,
I've always had better luck tuning with manifold vacuum than trying to use the ported vacuum. But I know there's very different supporters of both methods depending on.
Absolutely.
Well, I don't even know. I actually have no clue which is better.
I don't either, to be honest with you. If it's like a mild, like stock to mild cam, I'll just run timed vacuum off the carb.
I don't think it matters much, right? If it's a pretty stock motor.
No, because you're not going to have like idling issues with mild cam. If you're running a pretty nasty cam, then I definitely run full manifold vacuum.
Yeah, because you're not getting much after the throttle or after the throttle blade or whatever.
Yeah,
right? Like,
or like something with like crazy like overlap on the cams.
Yeah.
I mean, it didn't like I had it on the manifold vacuum before, and then I switched it to the timed. Or was it?
Did it matter much either way? I know some cars.
It was just a little bit like, I don't know, just a little bit slightly like lumpier idle.
Yeah.
Which I liked, so I kept it. I saw no difference in performance whatsoever.
Okay.
So yeah, I was trying a bunch of stuff, and then so I mean, I forgot where I was going or where it was, but
you pulled off the
yeah. So it's running really smooth. I can still feel a slight like dip, I would say.
But if it's not a car,
it's clean. I mean, honestly,
like how much time do you spend on
exactly
such a minor thing?
And
right?
it could also just be that cam profile of where like it could just be there's just a dip there. I mean, I don't like just chalking it up to that. It's kind of, do I spend another 3 days working and tuning this out? Or
well, and sometimes you make it worse too by like trying to track down something like that and perfect it, or you'll dick up another spot in the RPM range. And then it's like,
exactly.
well, that wasn't worth it. Yeah. I dealt with that with the Falcon for a while when I was learning the fuel injection mapping, and like I would fix one spot, you know, and then I'd wreck another one. And it was like the most frustrating thing ever.
Mm-hmm.
Then I just gave up and I was like, you know what? It's really good. Like, why am why am I trying to like ultra fine tune this when I'm making other things worse? Like just drive it.
Yeah. So that's kind of where I stopped today. And
nice.
Yeah, so I feel good about it. I actually feel really good about it. So
sweet.
Are you going to move on from it now? Or
yeah, I'm moving on from it. It's there was a major improvement, and it was kind of what I was tracking down. And because it wasn't before, I was just sneaking up on it, and then it was getting worse. Right from the get-go, it was dramatically better. And then I was able to sneak up more on it, and then to almost eliminate it. Like before it felt like there'd be a peak and then it dip down and then come back up. Now it just feels like a slight plateau and then up.
Okay. Yeah.
So that's a success in my book.
That's pretty solid.
I mean, all that truck needs to do is just sound nasty and do wicked burnouts. So
good. The thing's so bitchin'.
Yeah, it's cool. That's kind of probably what I'll do next is kind of start to clean it up a little bit and show a little love to it.
Nice.
It's got a matte paint job on it, so there's really not too much I can really do.
Yeah, what do you do?
Give it a wash, a spray down, or even like a speed wax or something like that, like in the squirt bottle. But I don't really know how you clean matte paint jobs because I've painted many of them and sent them off in the world, but I've never had to maintain them. Yeah. So
just Windex. That's what my our buddy Devin, he had a matte paint job and he just used straight up Windex.
Well, shoot, I like
on that Vaquero, right? Was that the one he painted black? That was such a badass bike.
It was a sweet bike.
That thing
he
was
just
so
had
rad.
Windex on it and the microfiber cloth.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it was perfect. That's all he ever did.
Nice. Yeah, I started like doing some test spots with like some like purple shine.
You can't
like,
wax it.
Degreaser.
You can't really.
Yeah. I just threw like some generic like degreaser on it just to clean it. And it was definitely pulling like it was like almost like yellowish brown like coming off of
careful.
It. So
yeah, don't do that.
Yeah.
No. It was good.
It's like pulling dirt out of it.
Yeah, no, it definitely was dirt. It wasn't paint. So yeah, so I'll probably just give it a little wash and then
move on. You got other cars to work on.
Yeah.
What about your GS Max? And you say you figured
Oh my
it out?
God. Yeah, it was so great to figure that out today. Actually, it was I can't squat because of my knee.
Yeah.
And so I just kept looking. So what happened was I started it. And this is actually a great topic because I think all of us are guilty of getting into situations where your brain tells you it takes on more than it actually is. So I
keep looking for this difficult problem when it's something simple.
So I went out to start it after 6 months, maybe not quite that long, but I started it. And the way BMW oil heads work, at least the GS's, there's two fuel lines that come out the bottom of the tank, and then they go straight down. And so people put quick connects on, so you can split them and take the tank off. Well, one of the top fuel lines,
I've broken one of those actually. By the way,
split,
disconnect,
split, and so it was blowing gas everywhere. So I took the tank off, took the piece of fuel line off, and laid it down and tried to get real close, but I just must have been half an inch too long. When I cut the new fuel line, put it all back together, put the tank on, and then it wouldn't run. It was just running awful. It was blowing back. And then instantly you're like, oh, it sat too long. I fouled the plug, bad gas. You go through all of these things.
Well, I thought it was like mine. I had that similar problem on mine. And I was like positive it's easy to put the tank back on and pinch up one of the throttle cables so it pulls out of the barrel and it keeps the throttle blade open like 20% or something.
Yep.
So they're
unbalanced. So I did that. I took the tank off and I'm looking at everything and I'm playing with the throttle and it's snapping back closed. And I'm like, dude, it's not that. It's not that. So then I'm like, okay, it's got to be something with it only is bad when I put the tank back on.
Mm-hmm.
Like that's what happened. So I've just got to get out of my head and like start looking at the stupid details. So I'm looking down at it and I can't see it. And Chantil comes up on the left of me and squats down. So now she's looking right at the throttle body, and the fuel line, because I cut it too long, has come down and is pushing on the throttle cable on the throttle body and stopping it from moving.
Oh, wow.
And that was it.
Oh.
But I couldn't see it because the way I was looking, I could not see it. All I could see
so
is
it was
that
like
side.
pushing the cable. The actual throttle like plate couldn't
Assembly,
physically
yep.
open. Oh, okay.
And it was just squashing down on it.
Oh no!
So
way.
I would open it and then it would stick.
Yeah.
And it was running wide open on one cylinder, and it was blowing back gas. It was
oh my
terrible.
God! I would have never thought of that.
I know, and I wouldn't have seen it because I can't actually squat down and look at it from that low. But she got down and was like, I think the fuel line's hitting.
Yeah.
So I ended up taking out one of the quick connects.
Nice.
I cut off half an inch,
Right.
put the quick connect back on, and boom, she went ripped around on it today. It was great.
Nice.
Oh, that's awesome.
Dude,
It felt so
teamwork.
good. I was like, oh,
That's
man.
awesome.
I was just gonna say, like, isn't that a testament to like have a second, even set of eyes
Yes.
or set of hands when
Seriously.
you're working on something? Like,
Dude,
Yeah.
I do that dumb shit all the time. And then you get frustrated. You already overlook the simple thing. Then you get frustrated. Then you take the entire thing apart because you think it's the most complicated thing that
yeah,
failed.
exactly.
I know. You instantly go there. Your
my
brain
God.
just like, brr, brr, brr,
Yeah.
and you're like, oh, the timing is off. I broke a tooth on that.
Yeah.
Evan, I don't remember, or I don't know if you remember this tattoo I have. I'm gonna show the camera at least. I'll explain or describe it
tramp
to the
stamp?
listeners.
Oh, wait.
Is it a butterfly?
But
Is it a butterfly? Oh.
Which one is that?
Is that a throttle body? Oh, fuel.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Petcock.
It
Ah,
says,
nice.
it's a petcock, and it says, "Is the fuel on?" Or I wanted to say, "Is the fuel?" but it says, "Is the gas on?" And I can't tell you how many times I just finished a project that spent months on, like full build, like rebuilt everything. Everything's been touched, refinished.
Yeah.
First time to start the bike, and it's always like there's always like this first start anxiety, like build up that like anything could burst at some point.
Yep.
And kicking it over, and like,
He's like, son of a
like,
bitch.
Yeah, I'm like digging into wiring. I'm like, okay, it's like what's happening here. I'm like checking everything. It's like got fuel, so okay, can write that off. And then I look over and the petcock's off. And then
And everybody
switch it on.
has at least one
Oh,
of
yeah.
those stories.
Everybody
switch it
does
on, and then
You
give
have
it
to
a
do it
prime, let it fill up, and then fires
Yeah.
right up.
Instantly
Boom.
light.
So
That's it.
I,
That's it.
after that happened, I think like 2 times, I had my buddy give me a shitty tattoo of a petcock.
That's
and
awesome.
Is the gas on?
Yeah.
Wait,
That's awesome.
speaking of not shitty, but your super rad tattoos, Brady's the one where the "It's a Trap" came from. I don't think
Oh,
I ever told
really?
you that. Yeah.
Yeah. I'm wearing
Do you-
shorts right now.
Yeah. Show him the tattoo.
I
Check
did
out.
this myself, by the way. It was my
So
first second
This-
tattoo.
It was the coolest thing I've ever seen.
Sorry, listeners. This is not interesting for you right now.
Now you're gonna have to watch
Oh,
everybody.
he's going to fall off that chair.
Oh, he's gonna fall.
There it is. Look, there's
There
Admiral
it is.
Akbar.
Yeah,
That's a trap.
It's a trap.
That's a trap.
So rad.
That's awesome.
I don't know if I ever told you that.
I really want you to start that band again so I can
yeah,
be in. It's a
Brady,
trap.
when I
Let's
moved
do
out
it.
here in 2016, I started a band right when I moved out here because I missed playing back home, and
That's right.
we
You
called
play
the band "It's
bass,
a Trap."
right? No way.
guitar.
That is
Yeah, we used the
awesome.
Admiral Akbar like head logo with "It's a Trap" was
Oh,
the band.
hell
It was
yeah.
rad.
I wanna do that so bad, Evan. I gotta do it.
Admiral Akbar now.
Admiral
Is that what I
Akbar.
said?
It's always been.
Yeah.
What did I say?
Sorry. In the newer movies, he got
He got promoted.
What's
Is he general?
He's not
yeah,
an
I think
admiral
so.
anymore?
I think he's a general. That's
Dude,
that's what it
it's not the
is.
same.
I mean,
No.
Still, he's a good guy.
Oh, it's
good
good.
guy.
It's great.
He was so wise. He knew it was a
He
trap.
was.
It's a trap.
Yeah.
He was the best. What were those guys called? Calamaris or something? You know,
calamari.
Delicious.
Wasn't that what they're?
Yeah, delicious.
Right? Am I wrong?
I don't know. I love calamari.
You know what?
No, wait, I gotta look this up. They're like alien species was called calamaris or something. Hang on. Admiral Akbar.
I had no idea.
I'm the one who probably should know.
Yeah, they're from their homeworld is Mon Cala. Hang on.
Camales?
Mon calamari species. Yeah, they're literally a fish. Or not.
They're so good at Jack's Fish House.
Yeah, tasty. I guess they're not a fish, but like he's like an octopus or whatever. Yeah. Whatever. He's rad. Is the point.
Something pods, I think they're called.
Okay. Okay. I have a good story related to what you just did on the GS. So speaking of, and what Brady was talking about, speaking of totally overthinking things, I did this today. So I finally got our KZ1000 police bike back together and like running well. Right. And it's been just a nightmare. Like I had to redo the whole top end because that massive leak, oil leak from the bottom.
Blowing oil.
So I rebuilt, and I've never done a 4-cylinder before. So like it was, I understand how to do it, but I never actually, I think like retimed cams and everything on a 4-cylinder motor because I generally don't work on them. I put it all back together, right? Started up, ran fine. But I'd only run it for a minute or two because I was finishing some wiring. I was putting new gauges on it and stuff. So I had never run it long. So today I like wrap it all up and starts instantly. And I'd started it 10 times and it started and idled fine. And I had replaced the cam chain tensioner because the old one was totally slopped out and just could not tension the chain anymore. So I put one of those APE manual tensioners that you can like lock in place and took all the slop out of the cam chain. Nice. So then the thing sounded a million times better without the cam chain slapping around everywhere. So I'm like, oh, this is gonna be great. This bike's gonna run great. So I let it warm up a little bit while I was finishing a few things. And then I take it off the lift and I go like rev it a couple times and it just falls on its face. Like just, it'll idle great. As soon as you give any throttle, like revs a bit and just pukes, like starts sputtering. And then I'm like, what the fuck? And I thought, oh, it's out of gas. And and the tank was pretty empty. So I fill up the tank and I leave the cap open just to make sure it has plenty of fuel pressure. Same thing. And then I'm like, what the hell? And I like check everything I could think of. It's got like, well, I didn't check spark. I should have, but I'm like, okay, it's running great. Like what it's got fuel. Like, what did I do? And then I'm like, oh my God, I bet, even though I triple checked this, I was like, I've got one of the cams off like a tooth.
Yeah, I was just I thought it might have been going here.
That's I was like, sure. I was like, I know I checked it 3 times and I spun it over and over again and rechecked it every time, never changed. But I'm like, oh my God, I totally have one of the cams off a tooth. Like I have to, because
that's how far you went. That's how deep you went.
Yes. So I was just about to pull the fairing back off, the cam caps back off, recheck all the cam timing.
No.
So I'm like 2 seconds away from doing it. And then but then I'm like, I stop and I'm like, dude, no, you checked it 3 times. You counted the number of pins in between the 2 marks on the cams. Like there's just no way you were off because you checked it exactly how the service manual did. So I'm like, stop second guessing yourself. The cam timing is not off. So I'm like, what else? And then finally I'm like, this acts a lot like it's only running on like 2 cylinders. But of course I hadn't checked any of that before, right? So then I put my hand on the pipes. The 2 right side pipes are blazing hot. The 2 left side are completely cold. And it was only running on 2 cylinders, which was really weird because those are 2 different coils. So I actually had a dead plug. I had a dead plug on 2 separate coils. But I'm like, what in the hell? And then I had replaced the coils with some of ours that are not the exact right ones for it. And I had used wires and plug caps and stuff that weren't exactly for this bike, but I made them work. And it was from taking the coils off and on 3 times while I redid everything. The wire just happened to be those 2 left cylinders. The wires had backed out just a little bit from the plug caps. So I took the plug caps off, cut some fresh wire on them, screwed them back in super tight, put them on. Both cylinders instantly come back to life. And the bike fucking rips with the cam chain tight.
Nice.
Yes,
and I was like, oh my God, 2 seconds away from disassembling the entire thing again.
Oh, you'd have been killing yourself.
I know. Isn't that nuts? And then I just happened to think like, dude, what are you doing? Why are you instantly jumping to like the most catastrophic thing?
Yeah, it's definitely like a symptom of like knowing too much. It's
sometimes you just blank out
to just go to the extreme and forgetting like, oh well, it could just be a ground It could just be the fuel. It could just be a coil cable.
It was so dumb. But I just never, I was like, oh, they're new. Like, oh, it can't be a coil. It can't be spark. You know, it's got 10 miles on new plugs. Like, there's just no way. Nope. Totally stupid.
Evan can definitely attest to this, but in the world of guitars, like you'll practice, you'll get ready, you'll go, you get all the way to the gig, you set everything up, and then you have no sound, no signal. And you look down at your, at your pedal board and it looks like there's 4 billion working parts.
That must be even worse for you with like a big pedal. I don't use pedals ever, so like and
it's usually something
you
stupid.
You only
like
use the whammy bar, right?
Yeah, well, I bang the whammy,
shred the whammy,
bang the whammy bar around a bit, but
the was it the Crybaby?
Well, that'd be a pedal, right?
Yeah, I know. I'm sorry.
No, I'm not. Max is a real guitar player. I can't handle. My brain doesn't work fast enough to like manage multiple pedals. There's no way.
See, I'm left-handed. I tried to play the guitar, and so I thought I'd do like the Jimi Hendrix move and do like upside down guitar. And wait, did Jimi Hendrix play with the reverse springs, or they were tuned normally?
He played like a regular guitar,
but upside down
on the top.
Yeah,
but he had, because at that time he only had a right-handed guitar.
Exactly. So I tried doing that because I was dumb. And because of that, I gave up the guitar, and also I wasn't great at it immediately as a young kid, so of course I gave it up.
There's a guitar player out there right now. His name is Eric Gales, and he learned on the opposite, like same thing, like he had a guitar on the wrong side, but he learned, and he rips, by the way, and it's all upside down. He never restrung it.
Gotcha.
Oh wow, really?
So the chords are backwards. Everything is backwards, and when you watch him play, you're just like, what?
Yeah, that's nuts.
What the hell?
He rips, if you like blues, or I mean, I hear blues when he plays. It's this young kid. His name is Blake Mills. I recommend to anyone listen to Blake Mills Fender. He does like a Fender, like I don't know, Spotlight or something.
Okay,
it's something I play all the time.
I'll write it down.
Blake Mills. Let's check it out.
Anyways, are we back on?
Yeah. That was great. Honestly, this is good, man. We're already sharing a lot of good intel.
Well, that's useful stuff. I feel like I do that junk all the time. I always assume
everybody's guilty.
The worst.
Everything we talked about, everybody has done.
Yeah,
that's just the way it goes.
And it's always something.
You cannot
simple.
get away from it.
I know that's going to happen. I'm working on that Airhead, that R90, and I'm getting pretty close to like having it running again, and I've tore the entire bike apart, you know. And like, I mean, those bikes are pretty simple, but I know I'm gonna have something I've forgotten. It's not gonna run.
I really want to dig into that one of these episodes too. We're just gonna do a Airhead episode, and we'll stick to like, you know, the Type 247 engine. We don't have to go back too far, but
no, I love it.
It'd be a really
always
great
one of my favorite bikes. And I do want to have our buddy Matt on too. Matt said he'd like to join us, and I think
I think that's great. That's in the list already. That'd be awesome. I know enough to get myself into trouble with Airheads. That's about it.
Yeah,
I do too. That's about it. I'm no expert on them. But they're a pretty easy bike to take apart. I gotta say, like, they're not very intimidating.
I mean, they really are like half of a VW engine.
They're super simple bikes. That's one I'm just not afraid to take apart, because it doesn't matter how much you disassemble it. Like, everything is pretty obvious where it goes. It's just not that.
And actually, this is a great lead into our topic tonight, because our topic tonight
actually, good point.
Because when you're getting into like, what's going to be my first bike? What's going to be my first project?
Yeah.
You know, starting off easy is just a good confidence builder. You know, starting off with an old Airhead versus a KZ 1000 or a 4-cylinder.
Yeah, do not start with a 4-cylinder. If you really want to disassemble something and get into it, don't start with a 4-cylinder motorcycle.
Right.
Not if you want to disassemble the motor. It's just too much.
I started with XS 650.
Yeah, there you go.
Yep,
perfect.
That's a good one.
It's a parallel twin, which is an awesome bulletproof motor too. Like, you really got to try to hurt those things.
Yeah, once you sort out, much like an Airhead, once you sort out an XS 650, I mean, you're solid for
good
15,000 miles.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, you can just ride it.
Yeah,
hard too.
Our buddy Dan has
oh yeah, his is so
an
sweet.
XS1
71, I think.
he had the crank. He did a crank weld.
Yeah, my buddy Hughes Handbuilt did that. Hugh from Hughes Handbuilt did that.
For Dan?
Yeah. Because he does that.
Hugh
does that service. He rephases the crank. Actually, we should get Hugh on here to talk sometime.
That would be awesome.
He is like a encyclopedia of XS650 radness. Yeah. He would be good dude. He'd be excellent to have on here. I'll talk to him sometime.
I forgot, or I've been out of motorcycles for so long. I completely forgot about that motorcycle until just now.
Yeah, they're still around.
It's a great one, man.
They're getting expensive.
I was going to say, like, the market was getting crazy 8 years ago on them.
It still is. It's nuts.
Well, the XS1, I believe, is a sand-casted motor.
Yeah, they are not cheap. I bet Dan's is worth 10, 12 grand or something now, right? Yeah. Like, that's not a cheap bike at all, especially restored.
Our friend, our buddy Steve Gowing has one with like 10,000 original miles on it.
Is his the green one too?
His is green.
Green is so cool. Yeah, those are awesome bikes. But yeah, I mean, that's a good example. I would always recommend a Ironhead Harley, I think, as your first.
Because there's like 426,000 things that can go wrong at any point.
you couldn't even like get a good one running well.
That, believe it or not, was my first Harley. Was an Ironhead.
Really? Seriously?
Yeah.
What year?
Oh my god, how bad was it?
It was a later. I think it was it was one of the last years, so it was like 83. I think it was an 83 iron.
So. Oh yeah, they worked out all the bugs by then.
Most of them. Yeah, I got lucky. I didn't know what I was getting myself into.
Did you like it? I've never actually ridden one.
It was fun.
Horrible reputation.
I was also young. I think I was like 24 or something like that, and I had built it into like a bobber style, hardtailed it, and then the first ride, like literally moments after I tightened the last bolt, I took it on this like 200-mile ride to Big Bear and back. And
as you should.
I mean, that was the maiden run. Like that was.
How did it do?
Oh my god! I mean, it did. Like mechanically, it did.
It made it
pretty great. I ran into some electrical issues.
Oh really?
Oh, that's unheard of. It's weird. AMF is doing such a nice job.
I'm unfamiliar with that.
I can't imagine that.
And it was definitely in the harness that I left, not that I had rewired.
Oh, that's strange. I would have never thought.
Yeah, exactly. So, like, I don't know. We planned it out to be like a 4-hour ride up there, 5 hours, something like that. We definitely got there at like midnight or so.
You rolled back in the next month.
Right.
Yeah.
Pushing it down the road.
Well, that was like our trip to that rally up in wherever. Remember?
Yeah.
We had planned on like what? Goodness. I don't even know. 6 hours to ride all day. And we were there till 2 a.m.
Exactly. Everyone was asleep or passed out.
Oh my god.
Similar issue, actually. The tail end of it, the battery completely exploded. Like it was the first time it sadly wasn't the last time I had a battery explode on me. But that one was my fault.
Did your voltage regulator die and overcharge?
Yeah, that happened.
No, that was my fault.
Oh,
what did you do? What did you do?
I mean, I didn't know too much about electrical at all at this point. And
wait, you hooked it up backwards?
No. I had put, because like, wow, this is a really small battery. So I put a UPS battery.
Oh shit.
Which is later found out like it's totally fine for a kickstart bike.
Yeah, but that was an electric start bike?
That was an electric start bike.
Oh my god.
What is a UPS? I never heard the term UPS.
So it's like a backup battery for
power supply. Like a backup power supply for a computer, you know, like if your power goes out, it'll run your computer for 10 minutes. It's absolutely not meant to run a Harley starter.
I didn't know about amperage or anything. Like, I'm surprised that thing lasted so long.
Hey, Brady, you could have used 3 AA's and had better performance.
Oh man,
2 9-volts would have.
Yeah, but I was thinking like, it looks about good. Like I think this will kick it over. And then I tried it and it worked. I mean, I should have known like it had like the tiniest butterfly like fitting or not butterfly spade like connectors. And like, oh yeah, I'll just convert it.
That should be fine.
So yeah, that thing blew up. But it lasted there. And then so it lasted like throughout the other issues I had, and then it blew up on the first attempt to go down the mountain.
Oh no.
But it was a fun trip. But hey, I made it back home. Home.
What'd you do for a battery when that one exploded?
Oh, I went and bought like
you just bought
a proper size battery. And then the battery box that I made for it, of course, was like half the size of it.
He's like, oh, it's no big deal. I took a couple of C's out of my buddy's flashlight.
Yeah. So
fired her back out.
My buddy, one of the buddies I went with, one of them was AJ Newson of Redbeard Leather, and then Dave Stockton of Lucky Dave's. And Dave had packed, I don't know, like at the time, like the biggest zip ties I've ever seen in my life. And so I just zip tied it
he's a hero
to the backbone on the frame and made it home.
Good job.
Zip ties saved that trip completely.
They save a lot of trips.
Yeah, my oil pan actually had fallen off too. That
oil
trip
pan
also. Or oil bag, whatever you Harley guys call them.
Oh, the like tank.
Mm-hmm.
Well, like gone or just
no?
The mount broke.
The mount broke.
Oh yeah.
Well,
it's a hardtail.
dude,
Yeah,
everything.
exactly.
Yeah.
The mounts had just worked hard
breaks.
in on the metal, and it just
Dude, that's a
brittled and snapped
ballsy
off.
ride from like Oceanside to Big Bear and back on a hardtail.
This was Cardiff
ironhead.
at the time, so another like 20 miles.
That's a trip.
Well, I mean that's a testament to just how most of my rides like if you're not broken down like someone at least on the side of the road on the long ride. I mean that's
not a
like
good
those
ride.
roadside fixes are so much fun. Like that's where I like especially then. I probably wouldn't like it so much now. But that's kind of like when you feel alive. And it's like, all right, let's do this, boys.
They're awesome.
Evan and I and some buddies did the El Diablo run, and we spent a lot of time on the side of the
breakdown
road.
breakdown after breakdown.
Well, we did there was like 9 of us and on old Harleys.
Oh, every single bike.
Every like
we
50
barely
miles
made it. The first breakdown we got over Raton Pass. Remember, first breakdown was Devin's FXR, like just into New Mexico.
Barely out of Colorado.
Oh my god. Yeah. But it was awesome. I mean, everything broke, but it was rad. So I agree.
But that kind of, again, we're kind of leading into what we were talking about today, which is, as you've already heard, some people prefer old vintage BMW. Some people prefer old Ironheads or whatever. So
old muscle cars, old wagons.
Yeah, whatever you think that you want. Let's say
trucks.
you've bought your reliable new car, you've bought your reliable used car, and now you kind of want to dig a little deeper.
Yeah.
The world is just open out there. I love Brady's notes. It was like car, truck, or a go-kart.
Yeah.
Or a bicycle. I love it though. I mean, that's true, man. Like everything is a piece of art. Everything is a project and can be.
Well, and don't be, it's like a fine line. Don't be afraid to like get something outside of your comfort zone, especially if it's a project. It's great to do something that's going to require you to learn new skills and stuff, like that's always good, but be somewhat realistic and don't go buy a, Ferrari or something if you have no way to like figure out how to fix it. So I feel there's
and again, I know we've touched on this a ton of times throughout these episodes, but do a tiny bit of pre-intel. Go to Facebook, get on some forums, ask some questions. Like, I'm looking at this, thinking about building something like this. And
it's a good idea to think about what
half of the responses.
What do you want to do with it? Like a project can mean a lot of things. Do you just want to get it running, or do you want to restore it, or modify the shit out of it? Like there's all sorts of roads. I feel like
if you really want a cafe bike, if you really specifically want to build a cafe racer, you might do a little bit of digging on which frames are flat, which ones work the best for cafes.
Or like, I mean, really, like you can, in that genre, it's been proven over and over, like you can make anything a cafe racer now. I mean, that genre has kind of, the blood's been thin to where.
I'm glad that's burned out a little bit, to be honest.
Well, I know.
I got a little tired of that. And yeah, I don't know. They were.
Yeah,
no, I'm with you. I completely
What were the
agree.
bars called that curve around? Clubmans.
Well, no, they're Z
Here's
bars.
my cafe racer.
They're Z bars flipped upside down.
Aren't Clubmans the one with that kind of
No,
like
Clubmans are
reverse
different than
bend
the Z
and then
bar.
they're called
And
Clubmans,
everybody,
right?
they were buying any bike, put a set of Clubmans on. They're like $10,000
Cafe
cafe
racer.
racer.
Yeah.
I'm like, that's just a fucking.
Can you imagine?
Yeah, that was
how
like 10
many-
years ago. Well,
It
probably
was.
carried
It
on
was.
for a while, but
Yeah.
But how many super rad Honda CBs have just been completely demolished from something like
So
that? How many
sad.
airheads were destroyed? And I'm all for modifying stuff. It's just like, but it's like, come on, dude. There's only so many of these rad old bikes
I know.
left. Like, let's not completely.
oh, I'm guilty of
destroy them.
destroying a lot of CBs.
But I wouldn't call what you did to them destroying them.
Well, and granted too, like I was gonna redo everything to begin with knowingly. And so
Yeah.
I would literally start with unknown condition of bike, just a frame for a VIN number,
Yeah,
and then start from there. Like it had really no life left into it.
yeah.
And so I would
Yeah, you're not
start
taking
with
apart a
those.
show bike.
No,
Yeah,
definitely
that's
not.
not-
I like even when the market was really thin and they only had like really good examples of models,
yeah.
I wouldn't buy them. And then just wait, something always popped up. I mean, they made
Yeah.
millions of CBs specifically. So
But you just can't like. It just pisses me off. I bought multiple CB 750s for like single cam 750s for $1,500 or
Yeah.
$1,000
Yeah,
running,
Exactly.
and now that just like doesn't seem to exist anymore.
No,
No.
not
At all.
Well, no,
Yeah.
I mean, I think now it's like people are more like trying to preserve them, if anything.
Yeah.
Which is totally
Yeah.
valid. I mean, now like not the aftermarket, but the manufacturers have actually caught up to what people wanted as far as that style.
Yeah,
And somewhat come out with more, no, I wouldn't say cafe racers, but platforms where it could be better suited to kind of do some
Yeah.
customizing to it. And I think they wanted a
Right.
piece of the market because it was so huge for so long.
well, you're seeing that with all the modern vintage bikes or whatever they call
Mhm.
them, modern classics or whatever.
Yeah.
Modern
And they're
classics.
cool. I
Similar
like
to
it.
like
I
what
think it's
Chevy did with the HHR.
awesome. Dude.
There we go.
Come on.
That is a modern classic.
Oh.
Not. It's a modern piece of shit.
I have been waiting for that callback for 4 episodes now.
Good job, buddy.
Man.
I'll give you a clap.
No, don't slow clap me for that. I totally ruined my night with that.
But I think after that bombshell, we should get back to.
Okay, yeah.
I've lost
Um,
all interest in talking about vehicles. Just gone.
But yeah, so definitely when thinking about starting a project, it doesn't have to, or like Evan said, like be realistic or practical about what you want to do with it. So you're not going to find, say, like,
Well, but don't be too practical. I feel like my point's in the middle. Don't be too practical either, because it's also rad to get something that you don't know anything about.
yeah, definitely.
Just that is all I'm saying is it has to be reasonable in a way that like you actually have the resources and like knowledge and stuff to tackle it. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah.
There's all sorts of
Yeah.
cool vehicles you can still figure out.
Yeah, even knowledge. I mean, I don't think going into a project you need knowledge to do it. It's more just the willingness to learn it. Or
Well, you need the balls to take it apart. I feel
Yeah.
like that's the thing. And what you tend to find is that most of the stuff only goes back together one way. It's
Mhm.
actually not that difficult to figure out how stuff goes back together, especially if you were the guy that took it apart.
And this is without saying if you modified something, there tends to be a domino effect too. That you
that's
change
for sure.
one thing, chances are you've got to adjust or modify.
Yeah,
and
you
change
can't just
another.
put a ginormous air sucker on there and be like, why doesn't it run anymore without increasing your jet size or whatever else has to go along with it.
Yeah, good point.
And you have a great point here too, which is cost! Exclamation point!
Dude,
Like,
how easy
get
is
ready.
that to run away?
get
Yeah.
ready.
Any
I mean,
sort
you
of
have to be realistic. If you are not a a well-seasoned wrench or whatever. Like at some point, if things get out of hand, you have a bank of 4 carburetors, you're going to have to go give somebody to rebuild for you. You're going to have to cough up, $500 or whatever.
Yeah.
So
and I don't want to
just be careful.
I know we've kind of, even just by conversation of nature of the conversation, we have been talking more on motorcycles, but we are talking more on anything really.
True.
And like even costs as far as like setting a budget. Part of the reason I think all of us at some point got into say motorcycles, why we probably have been talking about motorcycles more so, is because motorcycles are generally, you can pick up a pile of shit for pretty cheap. Yeah. And not have to put too much more into it.
Oh my God. Restoring a car these days. I mean, it's one of the reasons why I don't do it anymore. It is just insane. A paint job is $10,000 starting.
Yeah, definitely.
Tires, wheels.
That's paint and body work too, which I mean, you're going to want to do.
If you're restoring something.
I remember when we were kids, I used to be able to go to like Mako.
Oh yeah, the $500 paint job.
Not anymore, dude. Like I called this place when I had my 70 short bed.
Nobody does that.
And it was they're starting, and it was literally called like budget auto paint, and their starting was $4,000.
Oh man.
Jeez. I did a Earl Scheib paint job on my S10.
Earl Scheib.
Yeah, to paint the fiberglass and the cab. I went from silver to red for I think it was $800.
Yeah, not anymore.
The overspray was insane. It was horrendous. It was so bad. It was really bad. But from 10 feet away, it looked good.
So this was something more so I used to tell people when they would ask me, this is more specifically on motorcycles. Like I want to start a project and like build my first bike, whatever it may be. And they would ask like, how should I start? And I would always tell them, just search wherever your resources are and find the cheapest, dirtiest thing you can find and spend the least amount of money. It's a bonus if it runs. Try to find something that runs. That way you've kind of got a head start. And we've talked about before, like it's best to start with something that runs so you've got a baseline at least.
Right.
Yeah.
And then put the least amount of money into it. And then just take it from there. And
to like start using it, you mean?
I mean, because and this is, I guess, where I'll finish it off. Like building your first motorcycle is like your first girlfriend. You make a lot of mistakes and you try your best to learn, and chances are it's not going to work in the end. So
well said.
Pretty accurate.
Putting put
that on a t-shirt. I don't know.
And it's really like, it's kind of like setting yourself up, if possible, as like the cleanest escape from it, if need be.
Yeah.
Man, I wish we had Matt Connor on here right now in his Honda. He was such a brave soul. He's everything you're talking about right now.
Yeah.
He bought this VL 600 Honda Shadow, and just
totally chopped the living shit
went to town. He had no idea. And he made his own gas tank. I feel like ground it all down. He made his own metal seat. When we first met him, that thing looked like right out of the Road Warrior. Like,
dude, it was like Daryl Dixon's bike from Walking Dead. It was the shit.
But
he's exactly what he was like.
Well, I don't think he'd ever had a motorcycle. He'd had a dirt bike maybe, but he was just like, I want a chopper.
Yeah. It was great. He had that huge air cleaner out the side. It's like, dude, you are pulling in so much air.
Yeah. Well, yeah.
The normal air thing on a Honda like probably pulls in that much, And he had this huge thing sticking out the side.
He had like one of those what's that stupid Harley intake with the flapper valve thing? You know what I'm talking about?
No, I had that.
Yeah,
that came on my
wasn't
dyno.
that?
Did he have one
He
too?
had something like that, is what I'm saying. Yeah, you did.
I remember he had that big diesel thing sticking off.
What is that dumb thing called? Hypercharger or something like that.
Hypercharger.
Oh my god, so dumb.
So when you give it gas, it just
Kuryakin,
opens up
I
those
think.
Kuryakin.
With
That's
that,
it.
yeah, it had the like muscle car like red flapper valve in it.
I took mine off and sold it some guy in Cheyenne.
I want to say like it was like Arlen Ness. Like
might have been. Yeah,
did something like that.
They're all that
too.
same. The
That
Kuryakin
era
Arlen
of-
Ness chrome.
Yeah.
Mid 2000s silliness.
well, that's because if you see the flap move, like she's sucking.
Put that on a shirt. I'll wear that. Cheers. Like, what did you say? If you see the flap move, she's sucking.
I mean, I'd wear that.
I want my coffee cup. Can we make that some of our All Wheels podcast apparel?
That's awesome.
Merchandise.
I don't think we should have anything we wouldn't feel comfortable dropping our kids off to school.
I'd absolutely.
Oh, my kids will rock.
I'd drop my kids to
Sophia
school.
will rock that coffee cup.
Yeah, that's the daycare knows me. That's not going to be a problem.
Man.
That's not an issue. What
So-
were we talking about?
Well, let me just tighten it up a little bit.
Okay.
All right.
So just kind of catch everyone up to speed if you forgot, like we did, what we're even talking about. So find out at least like a project that, and this doesn't have to be your first project, but something that it could be as far as like the range of your first project or your first project you really want to spend like your time in and really kind of go all out in. This will all apply to it and vary in detail, at least. Might need to be expanded on, of course, but so find out what you want, of course. That's the first thing. And then how far you want to take it. So have a plan set of whether you want, like was mentioned, full custom, restoration, resto-mod, or just a really good driver with maybe like a few changes, like personal touches here and there, whatever it may be. And then I almost
budget?
had it closed in.
Budget?
Yeah, budget wise.
I feel like that's where you were going.
Yeah, I feel like there was one more
Nope.
thing. It's gonna bug me. I think there was.
It'll come back to you.
But do your research. So this before you even find the project, do your research after knowing what you want to do to it. Do your research as far as what that entails. So
Well, you might also find there's a similar year or model or something that might be cheaper or something. I don't know. I'm just throwing this just popped into my head.
Chances are,
What
if you're thinking about it, it's been done 400 times. I mean, that's just the way we've moved forward. And
Yeah,
there
but
are
what if you wanted to do, like, this is just totally off the top of my head. Like, say you're like, okay, I want to build a rad 70s truck, right? And then you find out that like, oh, the C10s are nuts, but you can get a 72 F100 for like half the price of one of those or something. So
or 83 S10.
yeah. Well, my point is, if you narrow down the like category and you're not super dialed in on a very specific year or model or something, like there may be something really similar that would be cool. Like when I bought this Falcon, I really wanted a Mustang again. I was like thinking I wanted a 60s Mustang, and I looked everywhere and prices were nuts on them. And then this super rad Falcon popped up, and it's like very similar to a Mustang underneath, which I was already familiar with. It's not quite as cool, but it was also half the price. And
dude, Falcon's
like half
awesome.
build.
I would take a Falcon
pretty
over a
freaking
Mustang.
cool. Yeah. Chantel was just talking about driving it while she's here.
Oh, anytime. Tell her to come get it. Sitting in the garage.
But yeah, to like, and kind of what I was leading into also is researching what you want to do to that and what it takes budget wise. So this is where what I always like to do is before I even say it was even a personal bike or a client's bike, I would list out everything. Okay, there's a set of stuff like I know it's going to need. And this is for a full custom build at least, so it's not everything applies to a restoration or whatever. What it needs, and then just type in at this point, like, well, I could do it off the top of my head, but like that's where you just start researching, finding distributors for parts that you need and then putting into projected cost. And then as you buy these things, then you put the actuals in there, and just tallying up. That's what helps me. That's what helped me put a quote out for how much this custom bike for what this person wanted.
If you're charging for it, absolutely.
And then
and the first time versus your 10th time, like it's just a huge learning curve. Like the first
you can
time
estimate
I built
stuff
anything,
a lot better
I just didn't know anything. And now, if someone said, "What are the top 25 things I need?" I'm picking up a 77 CB750. I could be like, "Oh yeah, here's your 25 things. Just order them because I can tell you right now,
you're gonna
it's going to need
cables,
battery,
blah blah blah.
Plugs. You can just
and
put in the beginning.
If not, you want it for safety anyways.
Stick it in the saddlebags
or preventive maintenance anyways.
Yeah.
But it's a good idea to like set if you want to be on a budget, set that budget and spreadsheet it and like try and plan your priority to stick in it. Because I let that creep way too bad. I'm always like, oh, I'm going to fix this old bike and totally stick to a budget, and then I'll spreadsheet, and then after a while, I don't want to look at the spreadsheet anymore because it's depressing. Exactly. So I just keep ordering stuff and not documenting it.
But this is also like, and this is like important if you're doing any kind of like drivetrain swaps, say on cars or trucks. There's a lot of like just the very typical one I'd say is say like an LS swap. So that's where you can start honing in. Okay, I want to build a high horsepower motor, or I just want to build something that's reliable, turnkey, and I can get double the horse instantly from what it had stock with the reliability. You can see, okay, well, like Summit sells a crate engine, or that junkyard sells it for pennies on the dollar compared. So finding out like, okay, how can I hone in my idea of a budget? So your projected budget, and then start putting in some numbers of, okay, it's going to take this, it's going to take this, and then seeing what it's actually going, like how that fits into your budget. Because what you're trying to do is fit a bunch of stuff that you need and want into usually a really tight sandwich bag of your budget. And this is talking like, say you've got a budget of $50,000. You're still that still is like when you have a budget in your mind of $50,000, that can get you a lot of things. And so the sandwich bag grows. Same with the price of parts that you think can fit in there. And so this can kind of help you hone in. Okay, for 50, 10,000, 5,000, whatever it may be, this is how much I can fit into this bag and go from there. Now,
I always have like 2,000.
Yeah, I'm 50,000.
50,000. I'm going to buy a 69 Camaro.
Okay, I can't wait to build my space shuttle with that.
I'm not saying I've ever had this budget at all.
Pinching pennies.
No, those are ambitious numbers.
Yeah, have you seen the prices of even just getting into a project these days?
It's ridiculous.
Dude, it's ridiculous. Actually, we're at an hour, but your last 3 points, the first one of your last 3 points is one of the reasons that I absolutely love this the most, which is get your friends involved.
Yes.
And learn from them. It's just, this is where you just get to hang out with some of the greatest people when you find another person with similar, intentions and loves, and you can like you get in there and you get sweaty and replace a hard project, or get in and
Tim, what kind of projects are you working on?
Well, there's some of your Camaro.
Okay,
blowing knuckles and
in 100-degree garage.
Oh my gosh,
in the middle of summer.
So actually, in that note, I did, before it said get your friends involved, it said con your friends to get involved.
That's smart too. Whatever it takes. What the hell?
Yeah. Yeah, you'll have friends that disappear quickly.
Yeah. But then you get some that come out of the woodwork. Like the most time I've ever spent hanging out with our buddy Pop-Tart Wilson is when I have a car to work on. When I had that Camaro, he was over hanging out all the time when we were wrenching on that thing because he loves doing it.
Mm-hmm.
So it's awesome. Sometimes you get, that's a great way to spend time with people.
Yeah.
And then I love this next one too, is be practical and know your limitations. Like, if you don't have a cylinder honer for your motor, like you're gonna have to farm some stuff out and be reasonable
and
with what
having
you're picking up.
Ruined motor rebuilds myself by not knowing exactly what I'm doing. It's totally fine to like ask for help or send it out or whatever. You don't. It's cool to do it all yourself, but you also don't have to do it all yourself, especially if it's going to cost you way more money. To whatever, like you can pay to learn the lesson, but sometimes it's better to know your limit.
On that point too, like as far as like say engines, if you don't know, you could be doing too. If you try to tackle it or something like that, you could be doing too much than what's needed. There's that old saying, like one of my first mentors always said, like don't fix what's not broke.
Yeah,
and where. If you don't have the knowledge to even just see like, okay, that needs this, you could be doing too much and then getting yourself into a whole can of worms.
Yeah.
Yeah. And every time you fix something, you just add a little novel into your library of, and now it's fascinating to what you can accrue or over the years. And then you'll be with your buddy and they'll be like, I'm having this problem, and you can just be like, just like,
oh yeah, I did that.
You're like, oh my God, I did that, and I just exactly what it was, and then it's just awesome.
Yeah, agreed.
Good stuff.
And I wasn't saying that to discourage people from diving into something that, say they're interested in, but again, going back to time and money, those things are the first things that bleed out. When working with a project. And so if you're tight on either one of those things, that's where maybe reaching out to someone that might be more knowledgeable and just having them make some eyes on it could be beneficial. But I mean, if you want to just dive in, and this is just considered a learning project, so something with little money into, again,
go for it.
Then making mistakes. Unfortunately, I think all of us are products of our mistakes. That's really kind of how we learn our lessons the most.
Yeah.
And hopefully you're not on like a 48-hour biker build-off or a car build-off where you can just sometimes it's nice to walk away from it and then come back.
Yeah, I definitely
feel psyched about it again, and you're not frustrated.
I get real burnt out.
Off.
Yeah. Well, I did a biker build-off show, and that was probably one of the biggest mistakes I ever did in my life.
We should, actually, you should tell that story sometime.
Oh my! What I can remember, like it was 3 days, and I had Jared and I both probably had like 4 hours of sleep the entire 3 days. Yeah. It was brutal. I was full blown hallucinating. Like on the last.
Was it actually on TV? Like what?
Yeah, it was on Bravo.
I remembered something about that.
Was it you versus Billy Lane?
No.
What was the guy that? What was the show?
What was the bike that I had? I forgot.
Oh no, you had the the Billy Idol.
What was his name?
Richard.
Yeah.
No.
Richard. No.
Dude,
you always call him Billy Idol.
It's Billy Idol.
No, what was his name?
Dude, I'm totally blanking on it. What was
Russell.
Anyway,
Russell
Mitchell.
Yeah,
Russell Mitchell. I watched that episode, Billy Lane versus Russell Mitchell.
No, it was
the show called?
It was called Wrench Against the
Biker
Machine.
Build-Off.
It was kind of like the tail end of the biker build-off shows, and
is it like on YouTube or something?
No, I mean, I think all the episodes except ours is on like you can find.
What episode number was yours?
Oh, I don't remember.
So you're not.
I mean, it was Seaweed and Gravel.
Right here, season 1.
It's
season 1, episode 3, Flat Track Fever.
Yeah.
Teams from Spirit Lake Customs and Seaweed and Gravel turn a stock street bike into a classic flat tracker. Electrical issues force both teams to work together.
That's yours? That's the one?
So it says watch. Oh, you can buy it on YouTube for $1.99.
That's Brady's issue. Oh my God,
I'm buying it.
That's when I found out how much producers lie.
Oh my God, it's literally a picture of Brady when you go. You guys are going to see this.
Oh my gosh.
Look at this.
Send me the
Look at this.
Send the link.
You know that there's a really good story in that whole thing.
Brady's famous.
Check this
everybody.
out. You go to the page on YouTube to buy the episode, and it's like Brady's face staring at a. Why is this not loading?
That's probably when I'm like
dots.
hallucinating.
Yeah, it's not loading.
So I'll tell you this quick story that I think you guys will get a kick out of.
Right.
There, look at that.
Yeah, oh, there it is.
Oh yeah,
Look at that. This frame's that level.
Well, I'm setting the.
This frame is bent.
No,
This
I'm
frame
mapping
is
out. I'm mapping out shock tabs. So towards like I'm on no sleep for the most part. I'm outside painting this bike, and I'm like full hallucinating. And while I'm painting this bike, I'm hearing Sean Connery like in my head, and like cheering me on. The only thing I remember is when I finally laid the last bit of paint on the frame, and then like done, and I'm like, okay, we gotta wait for this to dry, then we can start assembling, putting this back together. Soon as I laid the last stripe down of paint, I hear in my head, "You're the man now, kid."
Holy crap.
And then I just straight up start laughing my ass off. No one's around me. I don't know if it was from the lack of sleep or all the paint fumes I just inhaled, but honestly, it was definitely the lack of sleep.
Oh, dude, I'm buying your episode. I'm going to watch it.
They cut a lot of me out of it because the producers are like the biggest snakes in the freaking world.
Were they like trying to make it?
They were trying to, yeah, exactly.
stressful?
And I just was not like, they wanted to try to pit the teams against each other, which was not the case at all.
But it said you guys teamed up to solve an electrical issue.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know. I mean, what they had, what actually happened was such a better presentation than what they edited it to be.
Really? Well, I'm going to watch it, and then we can discuss it in detail next time as a recap.
Yeah.
Because I'm absolutely watching it.
How about we save that for the flat track episode? Because that was my first introduction to flat tracks. I had never even really seen a flat track bike before, or until like, well, yeah, I mean, I still really hadn't seen one, which it's borderline. We even
debatable.
Debatable. We built a flat track bike.
I don't know that
anybody out there does not know what flat tracking is, and you want a quick introduction. Go to the first 5 minutes of the best movie ever on any Sunday.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Oh my god, that is one of the best
shows.
Oh my god.
And one of
so good.
One of the greatest racers and best named Dick Mann.
Yep.
Never mind.
Yeah.
I had a real solid.
I'm surprised that's the one that you left on the tree.
Nah, I pulled it. Yeah. I was about to roast you, but you know what? All right, let's wrap this up. I'll tell you what. That was. I don't know how much content we got in here, but it was certainly entertaining, I gotta say. So that was good. But I think we covered some good stuff.
This is great. I think we did a lot.
An episode. No, it was awesome.
Yeah. Well, I guess just as a closer, if you're a young person and is just starting to get into a project, like Max mentioned, like at least a point that he really liked was get your friends involved. I think that's something. Yeah. I had a really good friend when I was really starting to kind of full blown get into building. And him and I learned together, and we excelled at different points and really encouraged each other. And fortunately or unfortunately, that's how I am where I'm at now, and this crazy obsession. Those are some of like the fondest memories I have. It's just late at night, whether it be after school or after work, like it's that time in the garage, just getting yourself into trouble is probably like some of the most hard learning, enjoyable times that I think I could really come back on.
Yeah, good point.
So that's my closing. Nice. And I think everyone would agree is to encourage everyone to get outside their comfort zone. Buy just something that needs work, whatever your budget can fit. And that's why I put a bicycle in there, and then just take it apart,
do it,
and do.
Well, the most important thing is do it.
Yeah,
because if you never do it, you never do it. You never learn anything. So nice.
So yeah, that probably could have been the whole episode right there.
Yeah,
that's great.
Well, right on. Thanks for checking out All Wheels Podcast. Check us out at allwheelspodcast.com. Email us at contact@allwheelspodcast.com. We're on Instagram, All Wheels Podcast. I'm Fading Fast SD on Instagram, and you guys can say yours.
I'm Freaking Ugly on Instagram.
No, what's your Instagram name?
I'm Freaking Ugly.
Oh. Got it.
It was a nickname in high school. Yeah. Ugly was my nickname.
I'm a Maximus Moto on Instagram.
Right on. Well, check it out. Shoot us an email, and but we'll be back next week with another show. We'll see you then.
Thank you.
Good night.